With movie releases slowly but surely coming back to normal, it was only a matter of time until one of these movies generated some controversy. This is my review of Dear Evan Hansen. The film adaptation of the Tony and Grammy Award-winning musical about Evan Hansen, a high school senior with social anxiety disorder and his journey of self-discovery and acceptance following the suicide of a fellow classmate. Before I properly start on my review, I want you to start the conversation down there in the comments below. If you've seen the musical, love it. If you're excited for the film, if you've seen the film, because it's been quite a few festivals, throw it all down there, whatever you think. And while you're down there, make sure you click that subscribe button if this is the first time you're checking out one of my videos, so you will make sure that you stay aware every time there's more new content. I think it's important to start with addressing the elephant in the room. Ben Platt cast as Evan Hansen. He played this character on stage, in the musical, in the original play. I think he's very miscast in this role, in the sense that he looks way old to be a teenager in high school. There's clearly even some de-aging on his face, and even then, it's how old he looks that is the problem. I could pull off a teenager better than him, and even I couldn't pull off a teenager well. And it would be one thing for him to look really old and not a teenager in a believable sense, but it's the fact that the rest of the cast for the students in this high school is pretty well done. It's pretty believable. Amandla Steinberg and others are pretty believable as teenagers. But then you have this dude who's not believable whatsoever and has some de-aging on him, which makes it even creepier when you kind of get this building of a relationship between him and Caitlin Dever. It's just off-putting, it's awkward, and it's bothersome. And I use that word to describe the rest of this film. Because as much as I can admit that the songs are good, musically speaking, this is good music. These are good songs. This film is very professionally shot. There are great moments, visually speaking. This is the director of The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Of course the film looks great. Of course this man can shoot a film and tell a story as compellingly as possible. The issue I have lies with the script. And because this is a Broadway adaptation, the issue in itself is even more with just the story and how it began, because morally speaking, this film is absolutely corrupted. I couldn't like anyone in this film. I most certainly do not like our lead character. I think from beginning to end for 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is way too long for this film, I'm sorry, he makes the wrong choice over and over and over and over again, and the film makes absolute light of this, and it just bothered me. It constantly rubbed me the wrong way. Even though every now and then he seemed bothered or conflicted by his choices, in the long run he just went along with it, and he consciously made these wrong choices throughout the film. The film even tries to have some lighthearted humor about these decisions. Earlier in the film, this is not a spoiler, there's a scene where he tries to fake some email exchanges that he had with this kid that died, that he didn't know, and he's pretending to his family and to the world that he was friends with him. And it's just really bad optics for this character and everyone else. Even as a starting point, the conflict of someone who stumbles upon this lie of pretending to be friends with someone that just committed suicide, I think that generates an interesting conflict. It's how the film executes this in the long run from beginning to end that just baffled me constantly, because of the choices these characters make and how it paints them. These people are absolutely not likable, and that's the main issue. It's not just that the main character is a bad person and he's impossible to root for, it's that most everyone else is a bad person and impossible to root for. There's this side character, Alana, who starts out very well. Again, has a good song in it, she sings well, there's a good moment with her, sure. But eventually this character makes a choice so evil and so irredeemable It's impossible to see her in any other light. Amy Adams, one of the best actresses working today, she's a borderline Karen. And when I say Karen, I mean that she's someone who absolutely, constantly throughout the film imposes her will upon others. This is a mother who is grieving, okay? From a starting point as a character, that works. What the film does with that character, as far as she is grieving, it just seems to think that being someone who is grieving is an absolute excuse for anything and everything that you want and can. I do not like this character. I do not like how she imposes herself on our main character, who I also don't like. I do not like how she imposes her way of grieving upon the rest of her family and upon Evan Hansen. Everyone grieves differently, and the way this character just thrusts her process onto other people to do it the same way is extremely bothersome. Again, I keep going back to that word, but it's the word that fully applies to all the mistakes, the bad choices this film and the characters in it make. And there is also something to be said about chemistry, because barely anyone in this film, I thought, had chemistry. I think the best chemistry you can find in this film is Ben Platt and Amy Adams, and that's it. And the relationship they have is surrogate mother to surrogate son, I guess, and fake friend to her dead son. So even that creates some issues. Zoe, played by Caitlin Dever, she's the only likable character in this film, but even then she has such little impact on the forward momentum of the story and the decisions and directions it goes into. It's hard to say she can save the film at all. I absolutely understand people who like this film. Don't get me wrong. I think as far as the intentions of this story and the people who wrote it are concerned, it's filled with great intentions but with the worst execution imaginable. It's morally bankrupt, it's problematic, and it mishandles all the important topics it wants to discuss by making characters utterly unlikable and despicable, making the worst decisions possible as people. I'm giving Dear Evan Hansen a D. Thank you so much for watching. You are the best. Make sure to start the conversation if you haven't yet, and if you've seen thus far, make sure to click the subscribe button, because if you watch this far, you enjoyed it on some level. Thank you so much for watching. You are the best. Stay tuned for many more reviews to come very soon. I'll see you in those, and so until the next one, love each other and love the movies.